Last school board meeting of the 17-18 school year. So, June 13th, 2018. I always have a tough start. So let's start with the approval of the minutes for June 4th, 2018, please. Could I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from June 4th, 2018.
And is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to take things out of order right now because we have some people who have some availability times issues. So what I'd like to do is move up the vote to recognize GMS football as MSAD 51 sport. Oh, did I not vote on the minutes? Oh, guys. All right, does anyone have any complaints?
Complaints, no. Take
Complaints?
two.
Any other substantive comments? Okay, all in favor? Sorry, guys. I'm a lame duck. Sorry. Okay, now we'll go ahead and to hear about the GMS football. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here. I had sent out earlier, I believe, came across your desk, the opportunity for us to sanction GMS football. Just a little background. We had the program as a sanctioned sport up until like 2014. And at that time, they thought there was a competitive imbalance and it wasn't really the best fit for our program. And they moved to the Southern Maine Youth Football League, which is not a school-affiliated conference, and allowed for better competition against the teams that we would be playing against historically at the varsity level. And that league has its own bylaws. Long story short, our numbers have dwindled, so what we'll have next year is a combined team of 7th and 8th graders, and that league does not allow for you to combine your players. You must do both teams, or one or the other, and that would not be developmentally appropriate for our student athletes that are participating in that sport. And so to come back to what would be the Cumberland County Conference, which is our affiliation for all of our middle school athletics, would be far more appropriate for us. We'd have greater oversight in terms of how the games are played, hiring and oversight of the coaches, and again, the rules of the contest to make for a much safer and better competitive experience, education-based for our student athletes. So that is our wish. It went to, we asked them to come before our athletic advisory board, and they did so. And at that time, the athletic advisory board approved to recommend to you all for them to be a sanctioned sport, again, under MSAD 51.
Any questions? And this is going to be 100% booster paid?
That is correct, yes.
So in the past, I think that football started as being 100 booster paid, and now we support the, I think, head coach?
The coaching stipends are the
stipends,
only
yeah.
thing that we pay for in the football program.
Okay.
Yes. And
And do you anticipate that that would happen again at the middle school level?
I imagine it would still be a booster-funded program.
Okay. Okay. Well, in light of the committee, the athletic advisory committee endorses it and supports it. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
I would just add, I think David alluded to this, but a lot of middle schools several years ago went to the Smithville League for
Correct.
middle school football.
Yes.
And probably 10 years ago is when that started to change, and now it's going back the other way. So they're now in-house. So that is something that's just, we're kind of following what the area is doing as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Good. Could I take a motion?
I move to recognize GMS football as an MSAD 51 sport as recommended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, it passes. Good
Thank
luck.
you very
GMS
much.
football. Thank you very much.
And I should give you an athletics update. On our Wild Wednesday
Good.
here, we had 4 teams competing in the Final Four of their respective sports. And at this juncture, we have softball as a Class B state champion, and are going to play Saturday in the state championship game at Brewer against Brewer. And our boys lacrosse just finished up out here, won 16-11 against Messalonsky. They too will be competing in a state championship game. And we are in the midst right now. Last I knew, our girls were down by 2 goals with about 20 minutes left in girls lacrosse. And our baseball team is playing over at St. Joe's against Wells High School right now. So,
Great.
Thank you.
so there you
Good.
go.
Awesome. Another great season. Thank you
So
very
far,
much.
so good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's then go back to our regular presentation. And Jeff, do you have, we don't have any presentations tonight?
No presentations.
Okay, great. Would you like to do your superintendent, and we don't have any recognitions either. Would you like to do the superintendent's report?
Sure.
Great.
I probably will say what other folks will say. I just want to say on behalf of the students and staff of MSAD 51, I'd like to thank all the voters of Cumberland, North Yarmouth for approving the district's budget last evening with 52% in favor. So I want to thank everyone for that. The French School of Maine, during early release Wednesdays this spring, French 4 and French 4 IB students have been reading to kindergarten and first graders, and I'm not going to say this correctly, L'École Française du Maine in South Freeport. Students choose books and with the students that they're going to read to, they read them in French, they practice their pronunciation, their intonation, and then they help with the students' reading as well. So it's been a great partnership that our high school French students have been involved in this school in Freeport. So most, or I wouldn't say most, many of our classes at the Mabel Wilson School actually take a tour over to the Historical Society. Most of you know that. Many of our classes do that in second grade each year. So I joined Lauren Entwistle's second graders last week as they walked over to the Institute, and then we visited the Congregational Cemetery, and then on to the Historical Society. And it was, I just want to give a big thank you to Carolyn Small, who works at the Historical Society. She really donates and volunteers a lot of her time. She has a passion for Cumberland history. She also has a passion, well, Cumberland and North Yarmouth. She includes both in the Historical Society, and she really has done an excellent job piquing the kids' interest about things from long ago. So, by the way, if you want to know why there's a feather on the top of the Institute, if you look at the
Cupola?
thank you, the cupola, there's a feather at the top. You'll have to go to the Historical Society to find that out. I'd like to thank all of our retirees. We had a staff celebration last week. It's the second year that we've had all of our staff celebrating, or just about all of our staff celebrating in the same place. We used to have it over at Valhalla for years and years, and we only would get a portion of our staff because it was after hours. But now we have all of our staff on an early release day, and it's really wonderful. We've gotten some great feedback. So I'd like to just recognize Mary Belial, Linda Caputo, Beth Corey, Barbara Dichter, Holly Groom, Patrick McGullicuddy, Audrey Northway, Diane Peters, Pat Tebow, and Bill Wise for all of their service to the years over the years. Each one of them was recognized last week with a nice video in front of the staff with gifts, and I just want to make sure I put a plug in for them as well as they finish out their time here in MSAD 51. I also like to thank these folks as well, in addition to our retirees. Officer John Dahlback is our school resource officer, has been with us for about 25 years, and he is leaving us, as most of you know, and going up to Oak Hill to be the SRO up there. He's very excited about it. Saw him this morning. I'd like to recognize Dan McCune, who's sitting in our audience. Mr. McCune, obviously, is leaving Greeley after almost 20 years. Are you? Oh, it's a surprise. I'm sorry. I just said it on camera. After 20 years and off to new adventures. And I'd also like to, we've already recognized Karen Campbell and Vicki Bell, but I'd like to recognize them again for their service on the board, and Andrew Eckhart, obviously, who graduated. And all these folks are also going to be in my blog tomorrow. So our safety committee has met last week, and we have a number of people that serve on our safety committee. We have a number of administrators, Joan Guile from the Teachers Association, the police chief, fire chief, Mike Simmons from the board, Scott is on there, Don Foster. We have a whole, I know I'm forgetting people, a whole number of people that serve on this committee. And the next step in our process is to do a safety audit and hire a consultant who is an expert in that. And the Police chief and the fire chief and the lieutenant at the police department is helping us secure somebody to do that for us. So we're very excited about having that done. Fourth grade adventure-based learning held their culminating celebration. This is a program the fourth and fifth grade has been doing for a number of years. I had a chance to stop in for a couple minutes. We'd like to thank Donna Murray for all of her work with our fourth graders this year. And David gave you an athletic update, but I also like to just plug that the girls track and field won their State B or Class B state championship on Saturday. They successfully defended their 2017 title. Boys track and field and boys tennis finished strong in the regular season, and girls tennis made their way to the quarterfinals, losing a very close, I don't want to say battle, but close match to Cape. And then David gave you the update on our other teams. High school principal update. This week, Monday and Wednesday, we've completed the first round of interviews for the principalship of Greeley High School. Next week, we'll have a second round with selected candidates that are brought back for a second round. We're still hopeful that by the end of June that we will have identified somebody that we'd like to move forward to the board for approval, but that's a very tentative timeline right now, depending on where we're at. And I'd like to thank the 21 members of the committee. We have 2 rounds of committee members. We have 17 members serving at any given time on either round 1 or round 2. We have students, parents, staff, administrators, and board members participating in really, really energetic process. And I just want to remind people, last day of school is a Monday. Surprise, surprise. And it'll be a half day. And the first day of school is Wednesday, August 29th. Can you believe it? Okay, that seems far away. That's my report.
Well, thank you for that. And I'll just ride a little bit on your coattails of just echoing our thanks to the retirees and the people who are going to be, moving on to better things. Dan, thank you for everything that you've done. It's been really appreciated. Officer Dahlbeck, I've never seen so many positive Facebook posts in my life as when he announced. And there's so many other people that we will miss, and we appreciate that everything that they've given to our community, and we will be reaping the benefit of their service for years and years to come, and we will miss them. So thank you very, very much.
And I just realized I omitted someone. I was making sure that I didn't, but Grace Levitt is going on to be the president of the State Teachers Association, MEA. And huge honor.
Yes.
And Grace is not retiring; she's taking a leave of absence. But very excited for her new adventures in that role at the state.
We're lucky to have her. So, all right. Well, very, very good. Well, thank you very much for that. I take it there is no public comment. All right, so I also, with committee reports, I did some preemptive intel, and I am told by my colleagues that we have no committee reports, so we are also going to move past that. Are there any communications? No, we are done with that. So next, we're going to vote to approve the computation and declaration of the votes for the June 12th, 2018 budget validation referendum. Scott, do you want to just give a little primer about what that means?
Sure. This is where the board has to just, approve the computation of votes. These numbers came from each of the town clerks in each community. And these are the verified number by the clerks, which you can see. And it's, in the affirmative was 2,159, and in the negative was 2,023. And that the board should declare that the question is passed.
Okay.
And so if you'd like to accept this as presented, and then we also need to, I have 3 copies here, but I'll just start down with Mike, and if everybody could just sign these in the same place, because I have to...
Same line, right?
Same line. I have to basically get these back to the clerks.
Okay, great. Could I have a motion to vote to approve the computation and declaration, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Before we go ahead and vote, I do want to just express my thanks to Jeff and to Scott and to the leadership and certainly the finance committee for putting together this budget. and for providing us with very helpful information and in-depth information throughout the budget season, and certainly responding to the public. So I appreciate that. We are really very fortunate to have you guys and your great facility with the numbers, and so we appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. With that, I will take a vote. All in favor? So moved. The next item is vote to authorize the superintendent to execute an extension of employment contracts for the administrators. Scott, Jeff, do you want to just explain briefly what that means?
Yes, the administrators are annually, they're not under collective bargaining, so annually we issue a salary agreement with each of all of our administrators, which are our principals, our assistant principals, and our directors in the school district. So annually we bring that to the board for approval, and then we issue a salary agreement, letter of agreement with them annually. So that's what this is.
And those numbers are already in our budget, they just got approved?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So could I first take a motion on that? And could I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor? And it's done. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Don't ever say we don't do anything for you. Okay. So the next one is the vote to approve continuing teacher contracts for 2018-2019. And I'm going to go ahead. There are quite a few people here. And what I would like to do is I'm going to take that motion as presented. Unless anyone would want, feel free that during discussion, if there's anyone who you want to ask questions, or just do that, but otherwise we're just going to go ahead with as presented, okay? And so could I have a motion to approve the continuing teacher contracts for 2018-2019 as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Okay, so moved. There we go. Okay, I'm going to handle it the same way with respect to vote to approve probationary teacher contracts for 2018-2019 as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? All in favor? There we go. The next item for action is the vote to appoint individuals to teaching positions for 2018-19. We do have this currently down to appoint individuals to teaching positions for 18-19 as presented. It's 13 individuals. I certainly don't want to stymie any discussion, but why don't I at this point take a motion as presented, and then if people have individual discussion, we can go ahead and have that. So could I first take a motion, please?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on these individuals?
I do have a question.
Sure.
Are these, so similar to the first vote that we, the second one that we took, approving probationary teachers, is that what they come in as?
Yes, they come in as a first-year probationary teacher.
Okay, without regard to tenure in another district?
That's right.
Okay.
Once they start in a new district, they start over as a probationary teacher.
Thank you.
And then it's 3 years until
They
probation
have 3
ends.
years of probationary status, and then they move to continuing contract if they've done well.
It's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor? Okay. Now, next item is election of school board officers for 2018-2019 school year. This year, as in past years, we went ahead and solicited nominations for people. We've had some very good discussion. I think we have some great leadership queuing up. But at this point, I'd like to take a nomination for the chair of the board of directors.
I would like to nominate Kate Perrin to serve as chair for the 2018-2019 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
It was
Sarah.
Then let me say that it has been an absolute honor. I will finish up my time, but it's been an absolute honor to serve as a board on to this group. You guys have been wonderful. You guys have been engaged. You are truly, the board is a product of our individual strengths, and I am absolutely heartfelt. I am being serious over here. I am absolutely heartfelt thanks for everything that you've done this year and your support. So I appreciate that. And also, Kate, I just think you're going to do a great job. We have a lot ahead of us, and you are up for it. You've brought really great insight and certainly advocacy for the schools, and I think you will do a fantastic job, and you certainly have my support, and I appreciate that. With that, all in favor? There we go.
Vote for myself.
You sure?
Yeah, you do.
Sure you
You do
do.
vote first, didn't you?
Mazel tov. With that, I'd like to take a motion for vice of the Board of Directors, please.
I make a motion to approve Mike Brown as board vice chair.
Thank you very much.
Second the motion.
And again, I think you're going to do a bang-up job, Mike.
I hope you are right.
So do I. And I'm still around, so I'm going to bust your chops if you don't. So,
Expect nothing less.
yeah, there you go. I'll be idle. I won't know what to do with myself. So, okay, with that, all in favor?
Raise your hand, Mike.
Mike?
Are you raising your
I would
hand?
like to abstain,
Yeah.
Do you want me to put that down on the record?
if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys, very much for considering this service. We appreciate it. So now I'm going to take a vote to enter executive session to consider a labor contract between MSAD 51 school lunch workers and the MSAD Board of Directors pursuant to state statute MRSA 4056D. All right, well, we are now out of executive session. I don't think we need a vote to come out, is what we learned. And so I'd like to take a vote to ratify the 2018-2021 collective bargaining agreement between MSAD 51 school lunch workers and the Board of Directors.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So that passes. So now a vote to enter executive session to conduct the evaluation of the superintendent of the schools pursuant to state statute 1 MRSA 4056A. Is there,
So moved.
and is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
That I do remember from childhood.
No, not that because you're cut up. So you're going right.
No, trust me. No.
We're back. We've just had our executive session, and now I'd like to invite a motion to extend the superintendent's contract.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Can I raise my hand twice?
Yes. We think the world of you. Okay, so next will be a vote to authorize the chair, me, to negotiate the 2018-19 salary and benefits with the superintendent, Jeff. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in, discussion? All in favor? The next item is going to be a vote to authorize the strategic plan for 18-19 through
21.
21. Could I have that motion?
I move that we accept the next strategic plan 2018 through 2021.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there discussion? I would just like to thank the Strategic Planning Committee and Jeff and Kevin and all the stakeholders who have participated in this. It was a lot of work in a relatively short time with a lot of stuff going on. And I think it is going to be a plan that this district is going to continue to flourish, and I appreciate that. So with that, all in favor? So moved. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I make the motion to adjourn?
Is there a second, Mike?
All right,
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? We're done. Thank you.
Second.